Violent Night is an action movie starring David Harbour as Santa Claus. He's a binge-drinking, foul-mouthed cynic who's fed up with our Christmas season, treating it more like an obligation rather than something to look forward and be joyful about. When he arrives at the home of a wealthy family, he ends up getting caught in a heist where a group of mercenaries are hoping to make off with $300 million in cash. Most people know David Harbour as Jim Hopper, the sheriff from Stranger Things, or as Red Guardian in the MCU. But he has had a long and prolific career for a little under 2 decades. He's played a supporting role in many films such as War of the Worlds, Quantum of Solace, Black Mass, among many others. That being said, there are only 2 of those where he is prominently featured on the poster both in name and face. The first being Hellboy, or Hellboy Call of Darkness, which was one of the worst attempts at an edgy reboot of a comic book character. The other, of course, being Black Widow, which the movie itself I enjoyed, but his character... not so much.
With that in mind, it would be easy for studios to look and go, okay, he's not for the movies, on to the next trending actor. But that's not what Universal did. Specifically, producer David Leitch.
David Leitch is known for directing action movies such as Atomic Blonde, Deadpool 2, Hobbs & Shaw, and recently, Bullet Train. He also had success with producing Nobody, starring Bob Odenkirk. It seemed that he discovered a formula with taking the leading role of a popular series and turning them into an action star. And so, he and his production company, 87 North Productions, bought the script from Pat Casey and Josh Miller. David Harbour was cast as Saint Nick, and Tommy Wirkola was brought on board to direct. Tommy Wirkola is a Norwegian director who rose to prominence with his Dead Snow duology, a pair of horror comedies where Nazi zombies terrorized Norway. He also did a sci-fi movie called What Happened to Monday for Netflix, and Hansung Red Witch Hunters starring Jeremy Renner and Gemma Arterton. He's had some experience making action movies, and isn't afraid to take 2 contrasting genres and mix them together. So it seems he's a good fit to direct Violent Night.
Now I just want to mention something. The writers of this movie, Pat Casey and Josh Miller, you know what their last projects were? The Sonic the Hedgehog movies. That's right! The writers of this super gory and violent Santa movie wrote both scripts for the Sonic movies. It's wild.
The movie starts off with Santa feeling burnt out by the holiday. He's binge drinking, giving out presents all half-assed, and genuinely not caring about the job. Meanwhile, a family of 3, Jason, Linda, and Trudy, travel to a wealthy estate owned by Jason's mother, Gertrude. Also at the house are Jason's sister, Alva, her boyfriend, Morgan, and her son, Bert. It's made obvious right away that they do not care for each other. Alva and Jason are in a spat to see who will inherit the family fortune. However, their plans for a typical holiday retreat go out the window once Ebenezer Scrooge, played by John Leguizamo, shows up and his band of mercenaries take over the house. Santa gets into a fight with one of them, and his reindeer leave him behind after the gunshots scare them off. Trudy manages to make contact with him through a walkie-talkie, and he promises that he'll save her and her family. The movie is told through 3 main points of view. Santa trying to take down everyone, Trudy who wants her parents to get back together, and Scrooge who wants the $300 million in the vault underneath the house. David Harbour does a great job playing a cynical, alcohol-fueled Santa, who finds himself stuck on a night that he's become increasingly agitated with. He's completely fed up with the greed and excess of the season, planning to make this year his last Christmas. As the movie progresses and he talks with Trudy, he starts to reclaim some of that holiday spirit. This motivates him to go on the offense and start taking out the bad guys.
The actress who plays Trudy, Leah Brady, is probably the best performance I've seen from a child actor this year.
Child actors tend to have a reputation of being hard to work with, but Brady does a really good job here. It also helps that Trudy is a solidly written character. Kid characters are also notoriously hard to write for. She's clever to get away from the bad guys and set up traps, and she also has that childlike innocence where she still believes in Santa. The other standout I want to mention is John Leguizamo as Scrooge.
Violent night, gory night, all is calm if all doesn't want to get shot in the fucking head.
Leguizamo is amazing as the villain. Charismatic and intimidating, he has a short fuse which could go off at any second and has some pretty badass lines.
Humbug, motherfucker.
Being a movie from a producer whose bread and butter is action, and a director who's made movies with lots of blood and snow, it's no surprise that this movie is pretty gory. Santa goes around stabbing people with candy canes, he uses a sledgehammer, but what's interesting is that he doesn't start out as Santa the ass kicker in the beginning. In his first couple of fights, he gets beat up pretty roughly. He's clearly not been in for this kind of action, or at the least, he hasn't had this kind of action in a long time, and the movie uses that to its advantage both for physical comedy and stunt work. David Lynch's movies tend to have a lot of one-takes, and so the actor tends to do their own fight scenes. And because of this, most of the action is shot where you can tell it's David Harbour in the Santa suit, taking a beating or dishing one out. David Harbour really proves himself as an action hero in this movie, which makes Hellboy and Black Widow all the more insulting.
Oh, God! There you go! Oh, stocking stuffer!
John Leguizamo also shows off his capabilities as an action star, which makes me wonder why he hasn't been given a bigger role in any of the John Wick movies. What we get from all this is a well-made, violent Christmas movie. Keyword, Christmas. There are certain things we've come to expect from Christmas movies. Lots of heartfelt moments, some of which can be cheesy, and a message about kindness or the Christmas spirit. The heart of this story is about a little girl wanting her parents to get back together, while the father deals with his obnoxious wealthy family members. It has the usual family drama. Everybody hates each other, their influencer character is clearly written by someone who spent maybe 5 minutes researching what an influencer is. But what really makes us root for Santa is when he and Trudy get to talking.
My daddy says there isn't any Santa. He says parents just tell their kids that Santa's real to make them feel better. He said they give us presents and say they're from Santa.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of parents say that. But I still bring presents to kids that need me. Kids who really believe.
How do you know who really needs you?
Christmas magic. I'm not really sure how it works.
Trudy pushes him to fight for them in the name of Christmas spirit. She believes that he has an innate goodness and kindness to him, and that's why he does what he does. It does get a little cheesy, like Disney levels of cheesiness by the end, but it's still rather effective. I was honestly surprised at how well these two wildly different tones worked.
And that's where this movie finds its strength. It has all those Christmassy feel-good elements amongst all the blood and carnage, but neither really feel as if they're combating each other. They're not at war with each other. They blend really well, and they don't really take away or distract from one another.
On one hand, it's brutal and violent, there's cursing and the threat of death looming over everyone, but then at the same time, there's some heartwarming moments about spreading cheer and helping other people. The score of the movie adds to the Christmas atmosphere. There's no dubstep or house music. It feels authentic to the genre it's playing to. The guy who plays Krampus is probably my favorite of the henchmen.
You want me to scoop his brains out? I'll scoop his brains out right now. But I'm not touching his junk.
I don't care who does it. I better be looking at flat balls like in 3 seconds.
I'll do it.
All the henchmen are given codenames based around Christmas.
Candy cane check.
Go for Frosty. Go for Tinsel.
Go for gingerbread.
The comedy is alright too. It's not laugh out loud funny like some of the other David Lynch movies, but it has its moments.
Morgan's gonna save us.
Jean-Claude Van Dipshit just ditched us, sweetie.
And this upsets me. It upsets me in a way that makes me want to just randomly shoot at people.
Hold on, sorry.
What? What?
What if you randomly shoot the only person who knows where it is?
Oh, fuck you people!
John Leguizamo says this line before the final battle.
Christmas dies tonight.
You can't tell me that line wasn't to make fun of Halloween Kills.
Evil dies tonight! Evil dies tonight! Evil dies tonight! Evil dies tonight!
Violent Night is an enjoyable movie with enough Christmas elements to make it unique. I do wish it went more in depth with the magical side of Santa, since there isn't a whole lot of it, but for what's shown, it works. I enjoyed it, and I think anyone who's looking for a more unconventional movie to watch this Christmas will enjoy it too.